Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to stay connected with our latest adventures. Before I set forth on my journey, I pause to relive that fleeting introduction, a moment that lingers in my mind like a whisper of fate. This seemingly ordinary routine holds an enigmatic force, steering my thoughts into a captivating harmony. Yet today, a shadow of doubt looms over me, leaving me adrift in a sea of uncertainty about where to begin. The layers are rich and complex, thoughts swirling like a tempest, and an undeniable weight hangs in the air, teetering on the brink of eruption. Let me take you on a journey, one that spiraled into the unexpected and changed everything forever. At first glance, it might seem like a tale spun from the fabric of fantasy, but I promise you, every word is steeped in truth. A solitary knock shattered the silence, heralding the start of an unforeseen adventure. For years, even decades, this charming neighborhood has been the backdrop of my life. In a close-knit community, where every face tells a story and friendship flows like the gentle breeze, the air is thick with the warmth of shared moments. Here, a friendly smile ignites connections, brief conversations weave bonds, and the simple act of sharing a cup of sugar or an egg transforms neighbors into family. This is a realm where familiarity is not just a comfort, but a cherished way of life. I often find myself steering clear of burdening others, especially those with whom my connection is but a whisper in the wind. Yet, there are moments when life appears determined to unveil unforeseen trials. This time, the unexpected visitor manifested as my neighbor, Ben. Ben was not the sort of person I expected would leave an indelible mark on my life. He is a man of few words, roughly my age, a reserved figure who often drifts into the shadows, keeping his thoughts and secrets tightly guarded. For years, he has lived next door, a familiar figure in my daily life. Our exchanges have been mere nods and polite hellos, skimming the surface of something deeper that lingers just out of reach. Yet on that particular day, I found myself locked in a fierce struggle, a battle within that felt more intense than anything I had faced in a long while. In a moment that felt both fragile and profound, I faced a series of health challenges that were far from ordinary. These struggles, though not the kind that typically capture public attention, weighed heavily on my spirit, igniting a fierce introspection that forced me to confront the very essence of my identity. The journey of aging unfolds in the most peculiar way. Just when you think you've uncovered the secrets of your very being, a single, fateful day arrives, and your body betrays you in unimaginable ways. My recent outings had dwindled to a mere whisper, each one a fleeting moment in a world that felt increasingly distant. The weariness wrapped around me like a heavy shroud, while the discomfort in my joints surged, a relentless reminder of the days slipping away. As I perched by the window, my eyes wandered to the garden beyond, a tempest of thoughts swirling within me. Would I ever grasp the essence of who I once was again? The exhaustion seeped deeper than just physical fatigue. It weighed heavily on the mind, a relentless pressure that threatened to overwhelm. Little did I know how deeply I had been withdrawing, pulling away from friends and family, from the very essence of the world that surrounded me. In that instant, the world shifted, as a soft knock reverberated through the silence of the room. There I sat, cocooned in my worn chair, my eyes flickering between sharp focus and a foggy blur, when out of nowhere, I heard it. Surprise seized me, leaving a shiver of uncertainty in its wake. The knock echoed once more, this time with a force that sent a jolt through my very core. I pushed the door open, and there stood Ben, his usual quiet demeanor transformed by a warm, inviting smile that seemed to light up the room. He clutched a bag tightly in his hand, his gaze locked onto mine with an intensity that felt as if it could reach into the depths of my soul. "Hey Martha," he said at last, his voice low and deliberate as he finally used my name. "I thought it might be time to offer you something special. I've noticed you haven't been in the best spirits lately." A wave of astonishment washed over me. I never expected anyone to notice. Yet, there he was, standing before me, offering his help without hesitation. I hadn't realized how deeply I craved someone to truly see me, to demonstrate that they cared. It hit me with an intensity one couldn't have foreseen. What was this feeling stirring within me? I inquired, attempting to maintain a nonchalant demeanor, even as the knot in my throat tightened. Ben extended the bag forward. "Here are a few suggestions to assist you. I've been preparing a pot of soup for myself, but I thought you might appreciate some as well. It's a simple creation, merely a blend of homemade chicken broth, a touch of salt, and an assortment of vegetables. I believed it could aid in the healing process. My eyes widened, taken aback by the unexpected warmth of his gesture. It was hardly significant. It was merely soup, yet it surpassed all my expectations. In recent days, the kitchen had seen little activity from me, as fatigue weighed heavily on my spirit, rendering the thought of preparing a meal almost unbearable. "Thank you, Ben," I murmured, my voice wavering. Words eluded me in that moment. He nodded, his smile lingering, yet now tinged with a more solemn air. "It seems you've been somewhat reserved in your recent expressions. If you find yourself in need of anything, whether it be a listening ear or simply some companionship, feel free to reach out. We are indeed neighbors." With that, he pivoted and strode away, leaving me in the doorway, clutching the bag of soup. My heart brimmed with fullness. Yet a tempest of emotion swirled within me, a sense of thankfulness, an element of astonishment, and a touch of embarrassment. How had I allowed myself to become so shut away, so alone? Despite having my family and friends around me, I found myself drifting away from them. Ben's unassuming act illuminated the distance I had wandered from all that truly mattered. I entered and took a seat at the table, the bag of soup clutched in my hands. Uncertain whether it was the warmth of the soup or the surprise of kindness that enveloped me, I found that the world had lost its chill. If only for a moment, the words Ben had spoken lingered in my mind, a haunting reminder of his awareness of me. Even in moments when I was blind to my own existence, how frequently do we navigate through existence, so entangled in our personal battles that we overlook the individuals surrounding us? It dawned on me at that moment that I had overlooked an abundance of experiences. Perhaps it was the moment for me to begin observing, truly observing the world anew. Thus I found myself in a state of contemplation. As the days unfolded, my thoughts increasingly gravitated towards Ben. He had unlocked a part of me, a part one hadn't even realized was sealed away. It transcended mere soup. It was the gesture of an observer, a hand extended without bias or demand. It felt like a tiny portal had swung ajar, and for the first time in ages, I found myself in the comforting presence of companionship. Yet, I remained unaware that this was merely the dawn of what was to come. Ben's unforeseen assistance would usher in a transformation beyond my wildest dreams, a shift that would redefine everything for us both. Following Ben's visit, everything had changed. I wouldn't claim to have been miraculously healed, quite the opposite in fact. Yet, there was a subtle shift. The weight in my chest began to ease, and I found myself becoming aware of the details I had long overlooked. It transcended the mere act of consuming soup. It was a matter of someone dedicating the time to truly care, to observe with intention. The gentle act of kindness illuminated the extent of my disconnection from the world surrounding me. It prompted reflections on the past few years of my life, on the countless missed connections, the silent corners I had retreated to, and the manner in which I had allowed myself to fade into the background. Following that moment, I began to encounter Ben with greater frequency. It was nothing extravagant, merely a wave exchanged from across the yard, a handful of light conversations about the weather, or a fleeting word as I carried out the trash. Yet, an unvoiced comprehension lingered between us, a sentiment profoundly sensed but never articulated. A delicate thread seemed to bind us, drawing us nearer with every fleeting day that slipped by. On a certain evening, merely days after Ben had delivered the soup to me, an unforeseen event unfolded. Once more, I found myself nestled in my cherished chair by the window, as the golden rays of the setting sun poured a warm glow throughout the room. I had been experiencing an improvement, at least in terms of my physical well-being. The weariness had subsided, and the discomfort was now more bearable. Yet, the narrative of my mind unfolded quite differently. The atmosphere was charged with an unsettling energy, brimming with inquiries that eluded my grasp. It was then that the knock echoed once more. This time I found no surprise in it. I had a strong sense that it would happen. The notion that someone took the time to reach out resonated deeply, serving as a beacon amidst the swirling tides of doubt. I rose to my feet, carefully brushing away the creases from my well-loved sweater, and made my way to the door. Once more there was Ben cradling a small basket of fruit, a relaxed smile gracing his features. "I thought he might appreciate something fresh," he said, his voice a gentle yet unwavering murmur. "I gathered a selection of items from the market. This collection holds some noteworthy treasures, apples, pears, and a few peaches too." I accepted the basket from him, once more engulfed by the warmth of his generosity. "My sincere gratitude, Ben. You truly need not feel compelled to continue offering me items." Ben shrugged, a modest smile playing at the edges of his lips. "I understand, yet my desire remains strong. I have no objections." "Seems you have been. You've seemed a bit subdued recently." I thought you could use a little something to lift your spirits. I nodded at a loss for words. His words wrapped around me like a warm embrace, a gentle softness that chased away the shadows of solitude, making me feel seen once more. Yet as I lingered there cradling the basket of fruit, I noticed a shift in Ben's expression. His gaze deepened with gravity. His stance became increasingly taut. "Martha," he started, his voice now a mere whisper. "I hope you don't mind me asking, but are you all right? Is that truly the case?" The inquiry took me by surprise. I had devoted countless hours to concealing my true self behind a veneer of politeness, feigning that all was well. I had not fully grasped the extent to which I had been evading the confrontation of reality concerning both my well-being and my own identity. Ben was the first individual in ages to meet my gaze and genuinely inquire if I was all right. For a moment I faltered, caught in a web of uncertainty about how to reply. The truth seemed far too intricate to untangle. Rather than responding immediately, I extended an invitation for him to come inside. "Would you care to take a seat for a moment? I am preparing a soothing cup of tea." Ben nodded and entered, and for a fleeting moment, we were merely two souls inhabiting a serene, unremarkable space. I filled the kettle and placed it on the stove, the comforting ritual anchoring me in the present. As the water warmed, we lingered in the cozy kitchen, our conversation drifting to lighter subjects, tidbits from the neighborhood, the whims of the weather, our familiar exchange of small talk. Yet I sensed the heaviness of his inquiry lingering in the atmosphere, just below the surface, poised for acknowledgement. At last, after an extended silence, I found my voice. "I don't know," I murmured, my voice quieter than I had meant it to be. "I believe I have been grappling with challenges more than I have acknowledged, even to my own consciousness. Transcends mere physicality, it encompasses all, the solitude, the sensation of gradually slipping into obscurity. I had not fully grasped the extent to which I have been evading the realities of my life, and discussing it proves to be quite challenging." Ben remained silent. He remained seated, absorbed in the moment, his face a canvas of contemplation. He appeared unbothered by my presence, showing no signs of judgment or discomfort in the stillness that enveloped us. He seemed to exist solely to absorb the words, to embody the moment, that in its essence seemed like a precious offering. "You don't have to face this alone, Martha," Ben said softly, breaking the silence that had lingered between them. "I understand that it can be quite challenging. I understand that clearly. Yet, there are moments when a simple conversation, even if brief, can truly change everything. There is no need for concealment or pretense. I have arrived." His words, straightforward and sincere, enveloped me like a comforting embrace. I was unaware of just how deeply I craved that affirmation. It was essential for me to hear that someone truly cared enough to express it openly. There exists a profound strength in the experience of being recognized, genuinely recognized, in a manner that transcends mere appearances. It was Ben who had taken that step for me. He had glimpsed the facets of my being that I had concealed, even from my own awareness, and he had extended compassion without any demands. The air was thick with unvoiced feelings, a moment suspended in time between us. Words eluded me, yet there was a strange comfort in that silence, a reassurance that my feelings could exist beyond the confines of language. Ben's silent demeanor conveyed a wealth of meaning. There was no need for haste. We might simply exist in that moment, free from the weight of expectations. In that moment, it dawned on me that he was extending something far beyond mere assistance. He extended to me an opportunity to forge a connection, to unearth a fragment of my being that I had concealed for far too long. A stirring within me awakened, a sensation long dormant, a whisper of possibility beckoning forth. A gesture of kindness once simple was gradually evolving into something profound, something imbued with greater significance. It transcended the mere act of Ben assisting me with soup or fruit. It was in the manner he had unlatched a door I hadn't even known was shut. Yet, despite the vulnerability I had shared with him, the path ahead remained uncertain. What I understood was that a transformation had taken place within me. And as it happened within Ben as well, that transformation marked merely the onset of a much larger journey. The days that followed our final exchange were strangely serene. As though a fragile comprehension had taken root between Ben and me, our conversation unfolded gradually, not revealing all at once. In truth, our conversation barely touched upon any particular subject, yet I sensed a transformation unfolding, a delicate yet unmistakable alteration in the atmosphere surrounding us. I discovered a growing anticipation for our shared moments. Surpassing anything I had ever expected, uncertainty lingered in my mind. Was it merely gratitude for his kindness, Or was something deeper starting to blossom? Each encounter with him sent my heart racing just a fraction more than before. It wasn't love. Not at this moment, yet it was something more, a burgeoning connection, a bond that stirred feelings of both comfort and unease. There were moments when I found myself gazing at him, pondering the depths hidden behind those gentle eyes and those subtle, contemplative movements. On a fateful evening, the moment arrived. Throughout the day, I immersed myself in the garden, nurturing the flowers that had succumbed to the relentless heat of the summer sun. The sensation of being outdoors once more was invigorating. The crisp air enveloping me as I immersed my hands in the earth. For years I have cherished gardening, a delightful pastime that has brought me joy. As the sun dipped below the horizon and I brushed the sweat from my forehead, an urge stirred within me to see how Ben was faring. It was a peculiar sensation, unlike anything I had experienced previously. I found myself lacking for nothing truly, yet the notion of him remained, a persistent echo in the recesses of my thoughts. I cleaned my hands on a rag and made my way to his house, just a short stroll down the street. As I rapped my knuckles against his door, uncertainty swirled within me, leaving me to ponder what exactly I sought in that moment. Perhaps a straightforward dialogue, a warm interaction reminiscent of those we once shared. Yet, the moment he swung the door open, I sensed an unmistakable shift in the atmosphere. His gaze held a deeper shade, and his smile wavered with uncertainty. "Martha," he remarked, a trace of astonishment lacing his tone. "Hello, how are you doing?" Was I? Before I could rein in my thoughts, I found myself saying, "I was just thinking about you," a hint of embarrassment creeping in at the way it slipped out. I wanted to reach out and see how you were faring. Ben retreated slightly, his hand making a gentle motion that beckoned me forward. "I'm fine, just tending to a few tasks around the house," he said, guiding me into the living room. Yet, within his words lay a palpable tension, an unmistakable sharpness to his tone that demanded my attention. We settled into our seats, engaging in light conversation, discussing our neighbors, the weather, and the familiar topics that often fill the air. Yet the atmosphere surrounding us had shifted, imbued with a palpable tension, as if an unspoken inquiry lingered just beyond our grasp. At last, breaking the prolonged silence, Ben leaned in, his gaze piercing and profound as it met mine. "Martha," he murmured softly, "there's something I must share with you, something that has weighed on my thoughts for quite some time." My heart raced with a sudden jolt. His abrupt change in demeanor took me by surprise. This was not the laid-back Ben I had come to know. This was an individual with a weighty message to convey. He paused, contemplating the weight of his words. "I've been reflecting on us, on the course we've taken," he said, his voice unwavering yet imbued with a deep unspoken fervor. Yet, an undeniable sensation lingers, suggesting there exists something deeper connecting us. Though our acquaintance is still fresh, I cannot overlook the connection that is unfolding between us. I sense a bond between us that transcends mere assistance. I remained still, caught in a moment of disbelief. His words struck with the force of a punch to the gut, yet somehow it was not unwelcome. The truth surged forth, and in that moment, all the chaotic thoughts that had been swirling in my mind coalesced into clarity. My heart raced, thoughts tangled, uncertain of the path that lay ahead. Ben was revealing everything, and now I found myself at a crossroads, contemplating my response. I found myself caught off guard, my voice scarcely rising above a whisper. I wasn't seeking anything of this nature. My journey has been filled with countless trials and tribulations, and truthfully, I'm uncertain if I'm prepared to reveal myself in such a manner. Ben inclined his head, a gentle warmth spreading across his features. "I comprehend, Martha. At this moment I have no requests to make. I felt compelled to share my emotions with you. I want you to understand that this is not merely a fleeting moment. Martha, my feelings for you have grown deeper than I ever anticipated. I believe there's a chance you sense it as well, even if you're not quite prepared to acknowledge it." His words crashed over me like a powerful wave. I had sensed it all along, yet the moment he articulated it, the truth became undeniably vivid, almost palpable. Uncertainty clouded my emotions, leaving me unsure of their true nature, yet I sensed a flicker within me, a feeling that had lain dormant for far too long. Perhaps it was merely the profound experience of being acknowledged, of truly being comprehended, or perhaps it was something deeper, a bond that transcended mere visits or thoughtful gestures.